Hello and welcome to this taste challenge. We have two American adjunct lagers. Budweiser, the official beer of the FIFA World Cup. Yes, 2022. And it is a 25-ounce can, 5% alcohol. Got a good date on it. Okay, it says metal can. How to recycle.info. Okay, well anyway, this is a rice adjunct lager. It's made with water, barley malt, rice, hops, and yeast. Okay. I know some people collect these specialty cans and bottles. I don't because there's too many of them. You could make a whole room full of just Budweiser cans and bottles, all the different specialty versions, ball club versions, college team versions, you know, special event editions. So you wouldn't run out of, you'd run out of space, but you wouldn't run out of specialty cans and bottles. All right. Now the competitor is National Bohemian, and this was sent to me by Douglas in Virginia. He lives in Virginia Beach, and thank you, Douglas. We certainly don't get this here. The closest we get it is probably Southern Virginia. Okay. Yeah, I had some cans and bottles in my collection, but those were purchased on road trips. They were all purchased on road trips. Okay. Appearance, identical. It's the same. White foam, clear, golden, bubbly. I don't have any official numbers on National Bohemian. I don't know the ABV. It's not on the website. The website's all about buying caps and jackets and bottle openers and mugs. Nice stuff, not disparaging it. It would be nice to have some information on the beer. They give a little history, but I'm going to say like 4.7. This old can doesn't indicate it. First brewed 1885. Nope. Sorry. We know Budweiser's 5%. But I think we can be very strongly, make a very strong assumption that the adjunct in National Bohemian is corn syrup. Why do we say that? Because we know that the beer is produced by Molson Coors for the Pabst Brewing Company, who owns National Bohemian. Pabst was supposed to get they bought the Miller Brewery in Irwindale, California. Then they immediately turned around and sold it to City Brewing. So they weren't even serious about starting their own brewing operations. They just probably wanted to flip it, maybe make some money off of the real estate transaction. I don't know what they're up to over there. Owning a bunch of brands. I don't care if a company has stuff made for them, you know, but it's not really a brewing company. It is a brand company. I know they had a little pilot brewery, a little craft brewery on the Pabst property in Milwaukee, but that got shut down during the demic. So, okay. Yeah, funky yeast here. Clean here. So on the nose, I'm thinking that's the National Bohemian, that's the Budweiser. I have no preference. I have no horse in a race. I don't really care who wins. Okay. Now we know Anheuser-Busch has, what, 12 breweries across the United States. 2 of which give tours, right? St. Louis, Missouri, and I think Merrimack, New Hampshire gives tours. That's it. Houston did. I went on it. It was great. I got the expensive tour I went on, but I was the only one there. Like literally the only one there. And about a year later, 2 years later, they shut down tours. I guess they had nobody going to the industrial warehouse section of Houston, whether they were residents of Houston or tourists. I mean, should Pabst bring back brewing? If there's no need for it, then they shouldn't do it, right? I mean, there's obviously excess capacity in the United States, because I read articles about how some of these big brewing companies brew 5 days a week. The other 2 days, they just contract brew if there's a client. All right, this tastes so clean. This tastes so like rice. Now, some people will say rice has no flavor. Well, I assure you it does. You can smell it when it's boiling. My mother used to just make boiled rice, white rice, with a little salt in it, and we'd put butter on the top. That we'd eat that, you know, obvious with other foods. This has a yeast thing going. It says our special strain of yeast. Special strain of selected yeast. Now, it's not some kind of like fake thing, you know, where it's not really a recipe. Miller, meaning Molson Coors, it's the big Miller brewery where they do most of it apparently in Milwaukee. They say, here's the recipe. Okay, this kind of barley malt, this kind of corn syrup, whatever you want to use, grits. And here's how much it's going to cost you. Now the price has been going up lately. A little hop bitterness, see, seems higher than normal bitterness, like a higher than normal bitterness, and that's making me think it's National Bohemian. Does it taste like the beer they make in Bohemia, meaning today a big part of the Czech Republic, western part of the Czech Republic. Northwestern part. The southeastern part is Moravia, which at the time made up the Kingdom of Bohemia. Bohemia and Moravia. But anyway, with the Czech Republic today, no, their beers over there are not like this. They simply use the name because of the heritage of the brewers, okay? They don't use adjuncts over there. I mean, they do in Europe, in some parts of Europe. I've had some super strength malt liquors from Prague, 15%. You know, I mean, yeah, those are not Reinheitsgebot purity. Well, you know, and it wouldn't apply to that country anyway. But so yeah, they put out some unreal stuff, street level junk, if you want to call it. But I mean, traditionally, a proper Czech lager is not going to have corn or rice. Budweiser's bitterness units are so low. This has got to be Budweiser. It's too clean. It doesn't have any weird funky yeast. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It doesn't. It has this clean. Now some people say that's dull. Budweiser is dull. You drink too much of it, you may have a dull headache. I've known people say, oh, Budweiser, I can't deal with that. I never had that problem with Budweiser, draft or regular bottle can. But with some people, they can't handle it. Makes them ill. It's that yeast strain, I think. That's the reason. Gotta be Budweiser. Now, the question, does it taste better or worse or even? It's drier. I always say Bud Light is like the driest beer in the world. You'd be so thirsty drinking that beer. Probably the reason that it's so dry. Not meaning not sweet. Just keep drinking it, drinking it, drinking it. And people in America keep drinking it and drinking it and drinking Bud Light. Which is why it's number one. Budweiser's still in play, you know. Number 5. 16 million barrels a year. In 1988 it was 50 million. But then, you know, Bud Light was maybe 16 million. And they took turns. Meaning Budweiser took the sales spot that the Bud Light had in 1988. The money's still going to the same company, so. Honestly, I'd just buy what was cheaper. Meaning National Bohemian. You know National Bohemian is going to be cheaper for a 30-pack. Budweiser going to command a premium price. Is it worth it? I just said I would buy what's cheaper. So I'm going to say National Bohemian wins because of, by factoring in price. I don't know if it tastes better just not considering price. They're both very nice. I'd order twice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're fine, but you have to buy it, so you're not losing anything. 3 points out of 10 alcohol, or 3 out of 100 alcohol, I mean. 4.7 versus 5, so if you have that bad of a drinking issue, you might just want to go get some treatment or get in a program if you're going to worry about it that much. I mean, that's not going to change the body, and it's not changing the characteristics too much. The main thing is the rice versus the corn. Yeah, but still, it's a wash. No preference on flavor, but when you bring in the value, it's like the normal story. The Budweiser doesn't match up. I don't pay for names. I like Budweiser, and you never heard me knock it. I just rather save money. And I can think of a lot of things that are a good substitute. I can say they were better than it. I say a good substitute. So a little sweeter, you might like that. A little drier, you might like that. I got it right. But that was an easy taste challenge because Budweiser is distinctive. No other beer tastes like it. Still, I'm saying it doesn't make it better. It's just a uniqueness to it. All right, but oh well. That's not an important thing to worry about. It's not even a thing to worry about. It's just something to discuss. It's a trivial matter when you think about it. Unless you're directly involved in the beer world, sales, marketing, production, yeah, then it would matter. Otherwise, as consumers, we can just talk about it in a frivolous way. As a hobby. So there you go. Which one do I prefer? Both. I prefer both, and but I would go with the better value, the National Bohemian. So, Les Bon Ton Relais, a fascinating three series taste challenge. We went up against Pabst Blue Ribbon, and Pabst was a little better. Well, that's usually the case. Miller High Life Nah, it is about the same, you know. It's like this one here today, and then this one here today. So National Bohemian doesn't race ahead of the others. Some people will claim it's a lot better. I don't see that myself, but doesn't fall behind, that's for sure. So Laissez-les Bon Ton Relais, and we're going to end this review by saying y'all go to one of the two breweries that give tours and take a Budweiser brewery tour, meaning an Anheuser-Busch InBev brewery tour.